Hey guys, welcome back to an all-new episode of R&D Garage. I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. And of course, everybody who's followed from the beginning, mwah, you know I love you. So here today, I'm surrounded by all my fans. Just kidding, they're actually heaters. It's another cold day at the warehouse. It's about 46, but I got all the parts for the distributor and we're ready to put it back together. This is for Miss Hatchie, so let's get going. Okay guys, I just wanted to add a little sidebar. We're waiting on the copper gasket for Grandpa, and it was so funny because I woke up this morning and I was like, oh yeah, I have a tender spot like really on the top of my rib cage. And I was like, okay, this feels familiar. Where is this from? And then I realized it was from leaning over and doing all that bolt work yesterday, taking off all the bolts. So actually, I have a question for you guys. If you can recommend a soft pad to lay on a car, so when I bend over, I don't get bruised after, I would be really, really appreciative. So anyway, thank you. Okay, so on to the distributor for Hatchie. You know how we do. First, we're gonna go ahead and compare all the brand new parts just to make sure. So on the underside, remember when I talked about this little O-ring right here? Well, it's black right here. We're gonna take that off and replace it with a red one. And we'll put all the part numbers and everything on the bottom of the screen or up here so you guys know exactly what we used. But yeah, I mean, two O-rings, they look exactly the same except for the color. Moving on. So here is the rotor. Here's the brand new rotor. Let's go ahead, open up this box, make sure, oops. Okay, well, screw. Yeah. So the middle part looks slightly different. It's been upgraded, but it looks good. It looks pretty much exactly the same. So we're gonna go with it. Screw back in the box so I don't lose it. Okay, now the ignition coil. So that's the one that we originally used on Blueberry to make her run again. So we had to buy another one. Should probably just buy stock and Honda parts at this point. Ooh, sweet. Oh man, this is awesome. Okay, so as you can see, I can probably just open up the plastic. And obviously it comes with instructions. But, oh, how sick is that? NGK. Yes, that obviously is the same. Looks good. I'm gonna put it back in the bag. I'm working a car, can't put things back in the bag. Okay, so that looks good. And now, last but not least, is the ignition. So here we have another box, bam. And remember guys, when you're replacing these, I would honestly keep the back just in case you need it for another job. But yeah, this looks good too. Okay guys, we are all set. Let's get moving. Okay guys, so we're starting off with the ignition. So remember to take off this little piece of wire from your last one, and then in one scooping motion, you can go ahead. You know what's funny is I can get this on the first try oh, there we go, off camera. But it takes a bit on camera. But anyway, if you do a scooping motion, you'll get it back on. Okay, so that goes on the end, and remember that one is on the bent one. We have a little bent side that this guy is gonna go in, but I can just go ahead and show you. And then of course, these two tabs here. So what we're gonna do is move this kind of out of the way, stick this in, move this out of the way as well. There we go, until it hits rock bottom. And so now we are going to put this all together. And so remember, that's where the screw is going to be. And so this is kind of cool. They're obviously positioned the way they're meant to be. So we're going to slide this one down here, this one on here, and then this guy on the side, which I probably should have started with. Come on, guys. Because it's another scoopy one. And that is a technical term. Come on. Apparently I should have gotten more glasses for Christmas. Okay, so that's on. We're gonna go ahead and screw this down. Make sure, there we go. Okay, so I got it to click. Okay, we are all good. Okay, now we're ready for those screws. So again, use a very, very nice screwdriver, something that you will be careful with, because remember, you can really, really strip these out pretty easy. So this screw is going to go on top right there. These two, 1 and a 2, fairly straightforward. So I'm going to start with the bottom ones. And it's always a good idea to be even more gentle when you're putting in the new part, because you don't know if it's going to line up as well as the old part did. So here we go. So excited we got these parts in time. And that, yeah, that went straight in. So before I tighten it, it's always, oops, wrong screw. Always a good idea to just put it in maybe about halfway, and then you can tighten it. But before we tighten it totally, I want to get the top screw in there as well. So there we go. And that is definitely not in because it is swivelly. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to tighten that one down and call it a day. And now tighten these guys up. Go, and then make sure this one is. Boom, look at that. It is in there. Let's move on. Okay, so now moving on to the coil. So you see we bought the NGK brand. I always love to tell you guys, if you can't go OEM, just buy the best premium parts that are out there. You will never go wrong. It'll probably stay in the car another 20 years. So just saying, let's put this in. So now this one fits in exactly as you see here. The back part facing the back, front facing the front. Doesn't get more simple than that. Okay, and now we have 2 screws, which are a little bit longer. And I already made sure to kind of pre-fit to make sure they went in as well. But still, when doing this, if the screw doesn't really go in right away, you want to kind of lift up a little bit, wiggle it, make sure it gets in. So I've got that screw. See, just like that. Perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up. And it was funny because I like to post some of my videos, or like parts of my videos, on TikTok. And every once in a while I get some really good advice. Like, I was kind of complaining how this was a little bit awkward in handling, and some dude is like, well, why not get a vise? And I'm like, yeah. it just makes sense. It's stuff you don't really think about, because I know we have a vise. I'm just not sure where it is at the moment. So we're going to go with the hands. Okay, so that's tight. Checking this one more time if I can get it in there. That is now tight. Okay, let's move on to the wire work. Okay, sorry guys, I'm having like lash issues. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the wire work like I said. So, obviously you can see this one only reaches as far as the bottom. The top one only reaches as far, well, I guess you could kind of shove it in there, but don't do that. So this one goes, the square one goes to the far side. How about that? You guys remember the Far Side comics? Okay. So first what you're going to do is fit this down. And again, we already test fit the screws to make sure they're going to actually fit. And so I'm going to go ahead, put the top one in. There we go. Oh, son of a, yeah, that vise is looking like a better idea. Okay. So this is now in, and now you can press the part that's wrapped into the little bracket there. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and put in the other screw, and we are done with the ignition. So you may have to shove this up just a little bit, there we go, to make it fit. And it's such a little tiny baby screw. That is a technical term. Okay. And not going in, not going in. There you go. So you may have to press it in just a little bit harder. Again, be careful. These screws are super soft and you don't want to strip them. But yeah. Okay, tightening that one down now that the other screw is on. And I gotta be careful because my concept of finger tight now with like my super muscles or whatever can be a little bit too strong. So Dee has warned me, your finger tight is like wrench tight. Okay, well this part's done. Let's move on. Okay guys, so for all of you who have futzed around with the dust shield and the rotor with new parts and they're not quite fitting, I'm going to show you exactly what to do now because I literally just struggled with this. Okay, so this, when it was put on, the dust shield, it didn't seem to be fitting all that well. And I thought maybe the coil or the ignition was a little fatter or something like that, but it just wasn't going in, which meant that the rotor itself wasn't fitting down perfectly. And when I took everything apart again, I realized it was because this was already too tight. And so I am going to go ahead and re-loosen. And this is totally fine to do this because as you'll see, the dust shield does not cover these screws. And so what we're going to do, again, is loosen, cut the dust shield back on. And you'll see now, oh, I should have showed you guys, shoot. Anyway, there was a little bit of space. It wasn't quite snapping down. So now we have it down. Now I'm gonna go ahead, tighten up these screws again. And we were like literally struggling with this on Blueberry. And it's been so long, you know, like the holidays and stuff, that we forgot what we had to do to fix it. So, okay, those are in tight. Beautiful. Weekly distributor. Okay, now we're gonna put on the rotor. And so what we're going to do with this, you remember this is kind of an easy way to put it on because there's literally only one way to put it on. There's a flat spot right there at the top. There's a flat spot at the bottom. So I'm going to turn it around just a little bit so you can see right there. Flat, flat. Let's get her done. And again, I'm going to point it up towards kind of the space right there just to make it even easier. And so cross your fingers. So this, beautiful. And now it spins. This is good. If your rotor doesn't spin, you have it in wrong. That's all that needs to be said. Okay, now that we've all got it fit properly, I'm going to go ahead and put in the screw. So you remember, and it's funny too, because you know when you get like weird thoughts in your minds or you're thinking of something else completely, and you keep thinking the screw hole is like at the top here. It's not. It's down below. Right in there. And so that's what we're going to do. And so it's already lined up. I'm going to go ahead and do it the easy way, where you put the screw on the screwdriver first. And again, you just want to snug it down at first to make sure everything is okay. And then you can tighten it up a little. This is another soft screw. So I'm so excited, you guys. I can't wait to drive her again. I love that little car so much. Okay, and I'm not doing it tight at all. That looks great. Let's move on. Okay, so now that it's 90% put together, what you want to do before you put the cap back on is make sure this rotor, okay, that sounds fine, but if it's clearly rubbing on something, go ahead and recheck. The next thing you want to do is make a little mark so you know exactly where the rotor is supposed to be, which we did. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and throw on the gasket, the brand new, spanking new gasket. And this, I guess I should have showed you guys, but you'll see it looks kind of like a horseshoe, and obviously horseshoe. So flat at the bottom. Okay. There we go, and it's super simple. I just kind of use my nails. If you have no nails, you can use a pick. But like I said, it goes in where it's supposed to be, which is nice. Thank you, Honda. Okay, which it just slipped out. There we go. Okay, now it's all the way in. You don't need any gunk or anything like that. It's new, so it's still, it wants to pop up a little bit. That's okay. Okay, stay. Now we're gonna go ahead and throw on the cap. And so remember, these screws come out. I like to put them in just so it's kind of like a, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the screws out. There we go. It's been that kind of day. Okay, so we're going to fit this on top. And yay, everything is fitting together. Let's go ahead and throw these screws back on. And what I'm going to do is just one screw at a time, just to get it fit. Perfect. This one. and then I shall tighten. Oh, that would suck if this just fell over the side. And this one, I'm going to just start tightening all the way. Oh, did any of you guys notice something on the floor in my last Grandpa Truck video? We kind of have some plans for the hatchie in case the parts for the K-swap don't get here in time for race season. So do me a favor, go back to my last Grandpa Truck video, which I posted on Christmas. Tell me what you saw and what you think we're gonna do next. Okay, anyway, this is complete. Let's throw her back in. I'm getting ahead of myself. Don't do what I just did and get so excited to throw it in that you forget about the O-ring, which its technical name is Distributor Mounting Gasket. I'm gonna stick with O-ring. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is take off the old one. And so you can use a pick as long as you don't dig it into the aluminum, because that would be a shame. And you don't wanna make scratches in it. This is kind of like being a dentist. There we go. So you see you get it, and I just scratched it. That's okay. Like I said, don't do what I do right now. Okay, there's the old one. Let's go ahead, break out the new one. I'm looking for scissors. They're like literally right in front of me. Okay, kind of. What do you do? Oh yeah, thank you. Trying to say I'm dirty when I work on cars. Breaking this open. We've got the ring. Okay, so we're gonna put this back on, and then after we're done, we're gonna wipe a little grease on it just to make sure it's a little more pliable. So, but first, there we go. And you probably, yeah, you don't even need a pick for that one. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that is. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead, take a little grease, and just wipe it around. Beautiful. Okay, that's what the napkin was for, and I'm just going to wipe off a little bit of the aluminum because I'm going to keep that shiny. And wipe off the bottom. Congratulations, guys. You just rebuilt your distributor. Okay, guys, now that everything is complete on the distributor, we're going to put it back on. So remember when we made that mark so that to make sure that it lines up right here? It is going to come in handy because we're going to line it up with the mark on top. There we go. Perfect. And so you see it all lines up. Now we're going to use our hands to physically, no. Oh God. Okay, I'm just going to move on to the next screw. So we're still going to put this on by hand. Man, that sucks. Okay, not quite lined up. Let's do this again. There we go. Okay, and we're going to have to do this finger tight because we can't get a ratchet in there. So I'm going to... what are you going to do? There we go. And of course, the washer makes it even tougher to actually start screwing in the screw, but whatever. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is going to hold it on for now, and then in the next segment, we're going to put on the bottom too after I use my magnetic tool to actually find it. Oh, I see it. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so that is finger tight. I'm not even going to bother touching it. I'm going to grab my magnetic tool, and then, like I said, we'll be right back. So everybody, everybody has dropped a bolt into their engine bay. I like to keep these so-called bloopers in because Lord knows I'm not perfect. So let's go ahead and get the sucker out. So I see where it fell right there. Bam, just like that little game operation. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side, and now we're gonna go ahead, actually I'll just hand it to you. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this next one in the socket. It just makes it a lot easier. We're gonna come down below because you see right underneath is the next screw hole. Well, the next one I'm going to tackle. So what you also need to do is push this hose down at the same time, or else you're just going to have more issues. So go ahead and remember to get the right angle on it, and go ahead and turn. And now that it's lined up, it's super easy to get it on there. Okay, and this one is even easier. We're going to use the same technique, but you don't need to press anything out of the way. And I may be blocking the camera right here, but it is literally right there. Okay, so let's get this in. Perfect. Bam. So I'm going to come back down to this one, pushing it out of the way, tighten it further. Beautiful. Okay, so for all purposes, it's pretty much in. This looks great. We're going to tighten and move on. Let's go ahead and tighten these suckers down. So I'm going to go and hit up the one with the hose again. And obviously make sure it's set to on. It is. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, that's nice and tight. Let's go ahead with this one right here. You guys watched that video yet? What I'm doing to my little hatchie next? And now we're going to hit up this one with the box end, because perfect. Sweet. This sucker is not going anywhere. Woot! Okay, so now we've got to do the connectors next, and then we're just about done. We'll have to put on the intake, and we're almost good to go. Let's do it. Okay, so now you guys know why I slightly cheated by leaving this hanging here. This is the old distributor cap. Bam, here's the new one. So what I'm going to do is pull off each of these plug wires one by one and put them on the new cap. So this guy here goes right here, and in case you've never seen the inside of a plug before, that's what it looks like. Okay, so stick that on, and now we're going to go, this is number 3, and obviously these have been stuck on for like 20 years, so this goes on the far side, like that. And now number 2 is on the bottom. See, you know, you guys can make this a lot easier than it is. If you had taken it off, sometimes you're a little unsure, and then you got to go on forums somewhere to figure out where exactly these plug wires go. So I love these little like kind of hidden sheets, because I mean, look, it's like it's always been on. Perfect. Okay, now it's time for the connectors. So the first one I'm going to do, and we kind of lightly clean these off just to make sure they connect even better. And so we're going to go with the bottom one first, and then the top one. So these are a lot easier to get back on than they were to get off. Click! Love that. I just got way too excited. Okay, click, and then remember this one has to come down and then come up again, because it has to fit on this slot. I'm gonna hurt myself. Why are you not connecting, connector? There we go. No. Son of another blooper. Why are you not wanting to go on? We're almost done with the job. You're misbehaving. Okay, now he's on. Sometimes you just gotta talk dirty to him to, yeah. Okay guys, pop quiz. What do you do before you install your intake back in? You shake it! So just to make sure you don't have a rag in there, there's no dirt, maybe kind of blow on it a little bit. But you also want to come down here and make sure the other end doesn't have like a rag or dirt or anything in there as well, which I already fully checked. Because, I mean, I can imagine what you guys, if you get a rag or something stuck in there, boom, there goes your motor, not good. Okay, especially since they're not making B-series parts anymore. So let's go for this. We're gonna snake it through. We're gonna have to move some of those, or, you know, kind of like hold some of the hoses out of the way. And let's just get this done. Okay, and you don't need a pick or anything for this. If you feel you do, go for it. But I find it's pretty easy. You can just kind of work itself in. And so this comes down here, and we're going to put the washer and flange side down. So I'm just going to go ahead and finger tight that right now. Finger tighten. Oh my gosh, I almost dropped it. There we go. Okay, just so we know it's going to stay. You guys do not forget, this hose goes on this little baby right here, and it's got one of those, which I just tried to use my hand, but it's got one of those clamp things. And so I'm going to bring that to the top. You got to work it a little bit. Yeah, that would have been so bad. Okay, cool. And now we're going to come up here because we have the same thing going on. We've got another clamp. It's one of those screw clamps. That is my technical term. So we're going to use this and tighten this. And you'll probably, if you have a strut bar, you're going to have to put it under. There we go. And it takes a little bit. And I like to keep one hand on it while it's still loose. Beautiful. Normally, actually, I would put that a little bit down further. I may move that just because I don't really like it on top. But for now, we're going to leave it. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. And this is actually, I can't see, it's a 10 mil, of course it's a 10 millimeter. I'm surprised you haven't been lost. Okay, and make sure, yep, that is on tight. We are looking good, guys. This is beautiful. We're just about ready. Obviously, we're going to have to put the terminals back on the battery, but I think we're just about good here. Yay. Okay, so I've got the terminals back on the battery. Now's the time to do a quick sweep of everything to make sure everything is connected. You didn't leave a tool in here somewhere. There's no loose bolts, nothing like that. This is also perfect time to do checkup on the timing. I've shown this in another video. Feel free to go search. And make sure, even though you make a mark and everything is lined up, sometimes stuff happens and maybe the timing's off. But we just went ahead and did that in between segments. So I'm going to go start her up. Yay. Cross your fingers. And also make sure you're out of gear. You're in neutral. That does it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching this R&D Garage video. I think this is one of my favorite cars to work on because she's not only my height, like I don't need a stepladder to get at her, but these cars are so freaking easy to work on. And I promise you, you will have the same success that I have working on your little Hondas and Acuras. I didn't mean to put little as in like a negative term. Little is good, okay? Cool. At any rate, I hope you guys had just the wonderful holiday season. We're coming up on the new year. So much stuff to look forward to. And again, thank you to all my subscribers. Mwah, you guys rock. Stay tuned for the next one. Hit that subscribe button. Take care.